You're now live. We are live. Hello. Hello everyone. Welcome to Saturday night. We have, I've 2 minutes and we'll start. We're just going to wait for some other people to join, but this is our fantastic Valentine's supper. Got some great dishes. Super tasty. The rum barber in particular, I think is real knockout. So we'll do that first. And I can't wait. It's really good. We've had an incredible busy day doing these takeaways. We just haven't stopped all day. I've just raced back from the restaurant to here. So this is my chill out time now, doing this with you. So whenever my lovely wife tells me I can start, I'm going to start. But
you can. What's really nice is just seeing people's messages. So people saying that they're loving the aprons this evening. So we want to see some pictures of that, don't we?
Yes.
Everyone wearing their white.
Yeah, and of course we have our romantic, beautiful candles at the end. With, and it's going to go out with Sorrel 2021. There we go. Who can forget that? Right. So you've got a candle. Some of you have got aprons. You've all got the food. I'm going to start now. And I'm going to start in reverse. So I'm not really going to go through the box too much this time because I appreciate that you've probably already opened it. You've got your what's in the box card with everything on it. And also we've listened to feedback and we have labelled things this time. So everything has a little label. Well, actually the only thing that doesn't is the salmon and the beef because I think that's quite obvious what it is. So should be a bit simpler for us to sort of follow. So, to start with, we have a beautiful rosemary brioche wrapped in this paper. And again, we have our beautiful Abernethy butter from Northern Ireland, produced from a lady called Alison Abernethy. A beautiful brioche. Now, the brioche would be best if it was just flashed in the oven for about 2 to 3 minutes, just to crispen the outside. Because it's been wrapped in paper, it's going to go a little bit soft. Even with the best will in the world, it's always going to go a bit soft. Butter we want at room temperature, so it's spreadable. So we'll do that in a bit. And there's our butter, so I'm going to put down here, look, beautiful Abernethy hand rolled. It's really lovely. Salted butter. Okay, also I've got my treats out. My treats are a rose and champagne jelly. It's like a pâte à foie, really. And these are sensational. It's a cep mushroom salted caramel truffle. And the colour, we've done brown and yellow. And you know, like if you take a cep mushroom and it's brown on top, then when you turn it over, there's like yellow underneath. So we've tried to resemble those colours in there so it feels like a cep. Really sensational. I'll put those over here for now, but you want those at room temperature as well. And then they're going to taste so much better. Right, so that's that there. So I'm just going to make a start on the rum barber immediately. So the rum barber, you've got a box here, and on this it should say on there that you've got your barber, your rum and your syrup in there. So there's the barbers, which should be quite dry. Syrup, bit of rum. I'm going to start small pan. Oh, the oven's on 180 degrees, by the way, as always. That's pretty much a standard, that one. So we can empty the contents of this sugar syrup in the pan, and we're going to pop that on to simmer. Now, whilst I'm waiting for that, I'm going to drop for my main course, I have my short rib of beef. Now this short rib of beef is fantastic. You can eat it with a spoon. It's been marinated in red wine for 24 hours. It's been cooked very slowly for about 4 hours. And then we've got, it's taken off the bone and it's very, very soft. And the sauce is all in there. So, boil in the bag. So I've got a pan of water on. I'm going to drop the bag in the water. And also, this wonderful stuff is seaweed mashed potato. It's really, really lovely. And again, because I've tried to make this easy for everybody at home, that goes in the water as well. And I think it needs at least 10 minutes in there just to, it doesn't need to be super hot, but you just want to get the chill off it and get it nice and warm. So the water, you don't really want to boil that water. You just want it, 90 degrees or just under boiling point really. So we've got that there. Our Barber syrup is on. Hopefully that will boil quite soon. And then so that's our main course. So for our main course, we've got our beef and our potato warming up. So we can do that in a, 10, 15, 20 minutes, whatever. That can just sit there nicely. We're also going to do the dessert, as I've already said. And then the other two courses we're going to start with a leek and potato soup, which is really lovely, with some smoked egg yolk and some lovely lovage oil, that beautiful celery flavour. And also, we've got some lovely puffed potato, which are like mini Wotsits, so they're really delicious. And then after that, we've got some salmon with watercress, celeriac remoulade, and we have a little bit of Keeta caviar as well, salmon caviar. Okay, so my rum barber syrup has come to the boil. So when it comes to the boil, we're going to add our barbers. These are dry, they're supposed to be dry, and then they absorb all the fantastic juice. So I'm going to drop them in. Now obviously you'll be aware that there isn't enough syrup to cover them. What you have to do is you take a couple of spoons and you just take it off the heat and you just roll them in the syrup. Roll them in it. Be very careful. And we're just going to leave these to cool down to room temperature, and every now and again we're going to turn them so they're soft. Okay, so that's going to go over there, and we'll come back to that. So, first things first, soup, really simple. Leek and potato soup. Now, the trick with leek and potato soup is don't overcook your leeks. You want to keep a little bit of that lovely oniony sort of flavour there. Now, so pan on, soup on. There we go. So again, now if you wanted to, you could put the soup in the water as well to warm it up a little bit. So I'm just going to do a little bit there because there we go. Actually, I'll do the whole lot. So that's on there. And we don't really want to boil the soup. It's cooked, it's ready to eat. If you have it cold, if you have it cold, I think they call it vichyssoise, don't they? So you could even eat this cold, to be honest, although it's pretty cold outside, so you probably don't want to do that. But you certainly don't want it too hot. Okay, so that's warming up nicely. Try to keep the dishes all very seasonal with everything. So leeks are one of the joys of February. I'm not sure whether I believe I've just said that, but leeks are the joys of February. Yeah.
Steve, just one quick question. So
Yeah.
you're saying if we've got a water bath,
Yeah.
what would you suggest as a temperature for the beef and the mash?
Who's got a water bath?
I know, it's impressive, isn't it?
Wow.
But also, Marshy said he's got a bath, but he's worried about the bubbles getting in the way.
Oh, okay. So water bath, I would say 60 degrees. 60 degrees to warm up the mash and the beef. And then at 60 degrees, you can leave it in there for quite a long time. And it'll get it nice and warm, but it won't damage it, it won't overcook it or anything like that, but it will get it at a really good temperature. Okay. So, soup's on the go. We've made these handy piping bags. This is smoked egg yolk. It's really lovely, and it will enrich the soup. So we're going to snip the end with these scissors, which aren't that good. Okay, there we go. And then the other one is this little bit, it's a tiny bit of lovage oil, but it's quite strong. And it's lovage, obviously you've got that beautiful celery flavour. So you've got leek, potato, celery, and a lovely creaminess of smoked yolk. It's really, really nice. Very simple, but very nice. So I was saying the trick is don't overcook your leeks when you're making your soup because it will it will taste almost like too sweet, and you kind of want to keep that sort of oniony, chivy kind of sort of flavour sort of in your in the soup. There we go. That's lovely. Right, so we'll let that warm up. That's good. I'm going to check my barbers. Going to turn them over. So the barbers. There we are. Now, we want our barbers to be absolutely sodden in this syrup. I haven't added any rum yet, by the way. Just so oh my god, yeah, they feel good. Oh wow, look at that. Oh my lovely. Look at them. Oh my god. So they're quite delicate now. These are going to be so good. I remember I went to Alain Ducasse's a few years ago, and one of the best desserts I've had in my life was just a rum barber with some vanilla flavoured chantilly cream, and it was like, oh my god, it was the best thing in the world. So in a way, if this comes anywhere close to that, I'll be pretty happy. So that's going to sit there. Right, so the soup is ready. So I am going to, I know it's probably pretty obvious, but I'm just going to show you anyway. Okay, so soup in the bowl, there we go. Fantastic. Now, you can, if you want to be fancy pants about it, you can put this in a spoomer gun. As people have got water baths, they've probably got a spoomer guns as well. If you've got a spoomer gun, pour it in the gun, gas it, and stick it in your water bath set at 50 degrees, so it just sits in there, and then you can squirt it into there, and you get a beautiful aerated, almost like a mousse. You don't want it too hot, because it will just sort of collapse very quickly. So, I've got that, and now I've got my yolk, my, wrong way. There we go, I think hopefully you can see that. And I'm just going to use this like a little piping bag, and I'm just going to do some little pea-size kind of dots in there. And again, this will really enrich the soup. You know, it's not too dissimilar to, you know, having a poached egg inside your soup. You know, it's really gonna, and that lovely little, it's just a tiny hint of smoke. There's not lots of smoke, it's only a tiny hint. But this I think is absolutely delicious. And now we've got this little lovage oil, and then we're just gonna dribble the lovage oil over. And again, it just adds another level of flavour. So we've got leek, we've got potato, we've got creamy yolk with a touch of smoke, and then the lovely celery flavour. So it's a really, it's not complicated, but I think it's complex as a flavour, and it's really lovely and really delicate. So look, there we go. Now I've just done that very quickly. Oh, there we go. Look, so there's our soup. That's lovely. Okie dokes. Right, I'm gonna put that down over here. So this is looking good. That's the mashed potato, and the beef's in there as well. And that the water's not boiling, but it is pretty hot. So the next thing, course number one out of the way. Next thing is salmon. So I've taken some salmon, whole sides of salmon, and I've cured them with a citrus cure. So it's salt, sugar, lime, lemon, and orange, coriander seeds, and black pepper, crushed black peppercorns. And the most interesting thing of that is that we've also put some lapsang souchong tea in with the salt and the citrus cure, if you like. So obviously lapsang souchong tea, which I'm not a massive fan of drinking it, but I love cooking with it. And quite often we've roasted venison, like I made a lapsang souchong butter and roasted venison with it. And it's lovely because it has that lovely, obviously natural smokiness to it, which is really lovely. So conveniently, I hope, we've put these on some beautiful pieces of paper like this. And then if you can see along the top there is some more. So there's a very fine smear of mustard across the top of the salmon, and then we've dusted it with some more tea. So now, if your plate is big enough, you might be able to just turn it upside down on there like that, and then just simply just peel your paper off. So make it quite simple, nice and easy. And there we go. And I'll do another one. There we are. So lovely and really good salmon. Now I think we made a slight error on your what's in the box. It says smoked salmon. It isn't smoked salmon, it's cured salmon, so that's my mistake.
Oh, can I tell you another mistake?
Oh, another mistake, okay.
What was supposed to go on top of the soup? Wasn't there some puffed potato, wasn't that somewhere?
It was, well done.
It wasn't me, it was somebody else.
Oh, right, okay, yeah, thanks. Thanks for that. Right, yes, of course. You mean the Watsits? Yeah. Sorry, potato Watsits. Yeah. So just before you eat your soup, we've got these beautiful bits of puffed potato, crunchy, really nice, slightly salty. And then, okay, I'm going to put them on there, and you can just sprinkle them on. So rather than croutons, whoops, too many. Rather than croutons, you can put these beautiful puffed potato. Okay, so we've kept the flavour simple, again, as I was saying, but we've tried to make the dish complex with texture. Okay, so there we go. So is that okay? We've done that. Okay, we've done that. Right, okay, so back to the salmon. There we go. We're not perfect here, by the way. Right, so celeriac remoulade, which we all know what that is, don't we? It's like a very thin, shredded celeriac with basically a Dijon mustard mayonnaise. It's a bit more interesting than that, as in we salt the celeriac first, allow the excess water to seep out, and then just add some lemon juice and some mustard. Now, because we are chefs, we want to do a beautiful, what we call a quenelle, which keeps it all nice and tidy looking on the plate, but you can do whatever you like, because it will not make any difference to the taste. It will taste the same, but we want to make it look beautiful. So there we go, quenelle number one. And I'm just going to pop that on there, and then here we are, number two. And this, of course, brings a lovely acidity, because there's mustard on the salmon, but also in the mayonnaise. There's a little bit of Chardonnay vinegar. So this brings some acidity, because the salmon is a really good cured salmon, should be very creamy, you know, because of the natural, obviously salmon is an oily fish. So if you cure it really nicely, it should feel creamy in the mouth, like really, really lovely. So that's that. So I've got that on there. And then we've got some beautiful salmon eggs, Keto caviar, really lovely. These are lovely with barbecued potatoes. If you take a baked potato, let it open up, creme fraiche, and then a massive dollop of this. It's incredible. So I'm just going to take this and pop that on there. We actually do a really nice dish with this barbecue potato, creme fraiche, and like a dulce butter sauce, which is delicious, really lovely. Maybe we could do that next time. Right. So that's going to go on there. And then finally, just to finish off, we are just going to, you've got some watercress in a pot. And we're just going to put some beautiful pieces of watercress right on the top. Again, so the watercress adds a lovely pepperiness, which is delicious. And again, we've got the pepper in the actual cure, the black, crushed black pepper in the actual cure itself, and then we're adding, almost like accentuating that by adding more pepper in the form of these leaves. So it's, you know, it's not just to make it look pretty, although it does do that job as well, thankfully. Right, okay, so there we go. So nice and simple. We have salmon, cured in lapsang souchong tea, and like a citrus cure, with watercress, celeriac, remoulade, and Keeta caviar. Really delicious. Right. Now, there's our soup, there's our fish course. The next exciting thing is there's a little pot with roasted yeast written on it. If you take the top off, God, it smells incredible. Roasted yeast. It's literally fresh yeast, crumbled up over a tray, baked in the oven, 160 degrees, until it's crunchy and dried. It takes about 20 minutes, I think. This is for the beef dish. I've also got some beautiful roasted oyster mushrooms and some beautiful cauliflower florets as well. So I'm going to pop that in the oven now. Should take about 8 minutes, 180 degrees. So I'm going to pop that in now. There we go. We'll work out when 8 minutes is up. It shouldn't be long. Right, so now be really careful. Hot water, you're going to burn yourself. Mashed potato, it's nice and soft. And the beef is we've melted the sauce and we've warmed the meat up a little bit. We don't need to warm it like super hot. Now, buying food isn't like buying a pair of shoes. Every piece of beef that's around in your bags is a slightly different shape, different size. Some's in 2s, some's in 3s, because that is what food is you know, you can't buy things exactly the same size. So I've got my beautiful little frying pan there. So I'm going to pour this juice in, my gravy if you like. And then I'm also going to drop the meat in, like that. Okay, now there's quite a lot of gravy there. I'm calling it gravy, and it's, you know, the meat is lovely and soft. I'm allowed to use my fingers because I'm eating it. And my wife won't complain, I don't think. Right, so that, I'm going to put that on the hob, we're going to bring that to the boil. I'm going to add a tiny bit of butter. You don't have to add a tiny bit of butter, but I'm going to add a tiny bit of butter to my one. I'm going to bring that to the boil and let that reduce and glaze, and I'm going to baste it and make it beautiful. Rum barbers. Let's look at the rum barbers. Now the rum barbers have almost absorbed all of the syrup that's in there. So they are incredible. Okay, there's almost nothing left in the pan, and I'll just keep turning them over, and they're very, very delicate. They're going to break up if you're not careful. So they're ready. A little bit warm still, but we're going to leave that till the end. Next is mashed potato. So I don't need this pan anymore, so I'm going to get rid of that. And I'm going to... Okay, so here's a trick. You could just snip the end and pipe that straight onto your plate if you put an oven glove on or something like that. You could do that. Were you going to ask me a question?
No, just a couple of people saying about the wine pairing. So Alex said a lovely blanc de blanc, champagne to go with the leek and potato soup.
Yeah.
That'd be really lovely and creamy and smoky. And then that would nicely finish off with the cured salmon. Alternatively, if you wanted some white wine, a Sauvignon Blanc, or a dry Austrian wine, he said would be really lovely with that.
Okay. So did you say a Chenin Blanc or a dry Austrian?
So that was a Sauvignon Blanc.
Yep.
And then onto the Austrian.
Yeah.
Something soft, which you felt would go really well with the
soup. Yeah, and it will have a good acidity, that as well, so it'll work really well with the soup, and particularly the salmon, I think, and the salmon eggs, the acidity will work really, really well with that. Okay, mashed potato in a pan, spatula. We're just going to warm it gently, and we're going to beat it. Just going to beat it as it warms. So what might happen is it may, when you try and reheat mashed potato, it could potentially kind of separate. So if it does, you can add a tiny bit of hot milk or cream. To be honest, hot milk's better. There's a fair amount of butter in here already. and there's cream in here, and there is seaweed in there as well. So it's lovely, slightly salty, but not over salty. And I think you all might remember that very famously, Joël Robuchon back in the 80s developed this pomme puree which had 50% butter. It was, so you did like 1 kilo of potatoes and you'd add 50% butter, and it was a massive like fatty potato mess, and then you added hot milk and it brought it together, and it was the most sensational potato in the world, although it did give you a heart attack. So, but it was amazing, and everyone tried to let that. So here we go. So here we are to the mashed potato, and the idea is don't get it too hot and just keep beating it, almost like choux pastry. There we go. It smells amazing, and it's also got a little bit of. It smells a little bit of acidity. It's got a lovely bit of acidity to it. Now, because we've got this very rich beef here, like it's really rich and unctuous and falling apart on the bone and off the bone. I'm just going to glaze that a bit more. I'm going to keep that going. And that's that. Rhubarber. So the pan is quite cool. Obviously I can put my hand on it, so it's cool. I've got all my rum here. I've got some lovely Captain Morgan's rum. And I'm going to pour the whole lot. You don't have to pour the whole lot on, but I think if you're going to have a rhubarber, it needs to have some rum in it. So I'm pouring all of that rum on there. Oh my golly, yeah, that's pretty good. Right, beef's looking good, potatoes looking good. Right, so now what we can do then with our potato is, if we use a spatula, we can make a very sort of nice looking shape on the plate. Yeah. So we can do this. It's beautiful. Let's get another plate. There we go. So, potato. There we go. Beautiful on the plate. There we go. So in the oven, exactly 8 minutes. I'm sure it's exactly 8 minutes. We've got our beautiful mushrooms and roasted cauliflower. Whilst I'm just looking after the beef. There we go. And we've got, and then we can just line these up here. I think there's 3 pieces of cauliflower each and 3 pieces of mushrooms. There we go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And our mushrooms just draped over the top. So this is, of course, is a winter dish. It's not supposed to look summery. It's not supposed to look green and vibrant. It's not supposed to. It's supposed to reflect, you know, what's happening outside. You know, that's the whole point. Is leeks are growing. You know, it's a time of year for lovely hearty sort of braised meats and stuff like that. So it's not supposed to be, you know. I like to appreciate what time of year it is. You know, it's winter, and let's celebrate winter. It's not long it'll be spring soon, so don't worry, it'll be spring. We'll have all our peas and asparagus and morels before we know it. Right, so that's glazing up really nicely. Now you could pop that in the oven and keep basting it as well. Got that. Now, the roasted yeast. Oh my golly, this stuff is just amazing. It's just amazing. Right, so roasted yeast. Now we're just going to sprinkle roasted yeast across. This is like the best flavour enhancer that you'll ever have. It just tastes it's I guess it's a bit like Marmite, isn't it? If you say, it's like that's what Marmite is, isn't it? It's yeast extract. It's just so delicious with the beef. It gives it so much depth, and so we've got some really kind of like punchy kind of flavours on here. We've got the beef itself, which is the beef is quite sort of soft and kind of the flavour is quite kind of filling in the mouth, but it doesn't bring anything other than just an incredible mouthfeel of beautiful, rich beef. But then what the potato does, it adds creaminess and it balances out that intensity, and then the seaweed gives it some really interesting saltiness, but also some beautiful acidity, which is very much needed. And then you've got the relief of eating the cauliflower, the roasted cauliflower, which is lovely and almost like refreshing because it sort of cuts through it. And then the mushrooms as well, which mushrooms have got a lot of water in them, so they're quite nice to eat with things like this because they almost like cleanse the mouth. But so I'm going to take my beef out now. You could glaze this a lot more. If you look at it, you could glaze that. Oh, hang on, there we go. You could glaze this more, but I'm going to pop this on the plate now. Here we go. And here's a piece of beef, and then I'm just going to put a little bit of sauce on top, not a lot, and then the rest can go in a jug. There we go. I need to find a jug. Where is there a jug? Oh, there's a jug.
So just some lovely feedback from some people that have already started eating their soup, saying how much they're enjoying it.
Oh, nice.
Some people are worried that mine's going cold and think you should be giving it to me now. Really joking.
Wasn't it hot in the first place, to be honest?
And there are a couple of other questions. Hang on. Somebody just said, how would you, if you were cooking this now for us to eat, would you be prepping it in this order?
Right. Yes, that's a brilliant question, and I would exactly be doing it in this order. As in, so that's kind of what I've been trying to do is if I had this kit at home, which I have, of course, if I had it at home, I would want to do it in this order. So if I was going to sit down and eat, I would want to organise my butter and my chocolates first. And if I was having cheese, I'd want to get my cheese out now as well. So it's all organised. Then I would, you could get your salmon ready, for example. You know, you can put your beef in the bags and the potato in the bags. So everything's kind of ready, and then, so you could in fact eat your soup, then come and finish off your salmon dish, and then it's not going to take you very long to take the potato puree out of the bag and organise the beef. It's not going to take that long, so you can actually, and that's exactly the way that I'm trying to show you. And of course, the rum barber, which we did at the start, was to make sure that it's cool enough for when we eat it at the end. So absolutely, this is exactly the order that you should be doing it in.
And one last question. So with the salmon, could you, for example, plate it up and put it in the fridge for a little bit, or you?
No, I would say don't do that because you don't want to eat it too cold because it won't taste as good. Things that are fridge cold don't often taste as good. Sometimes, I mean, obviously you don't want the sorry, it's not the marinated salmon. Obviously you don't want it warm. I'm not suggesting that, but you certainly don't want it fridge cold. And the worst thing in the world, I think, is that when you have a plate that's cold, you don't want a really, really cold plate to eat your food off. That's not pleasant. But anyway, look, back to the beef. The last thing on the beef is, so it's all about the flavour. This, okay? We've got the beef and the red wine. We've got the cauliflower. We've got the mushrooms. We've got the seaweed. The last thing to go on the plate is some, I would say it's like creamed parsley, or it's like a parsley gremolata. So it's basically just some sweet shallots, so some shallots cooked down with lots of cooked parsley chopped up through it, and then lots of creme fraiche. And in that, again, creme fraiche can bring a lovely acidity, of course, again. So what we're looking to do is balance the dish so it eats better. So there we go, that's on top there. Whoops, that's our little quenelle. So it's all about balance, I think, all about balance.
I feel like you need to give us all a lesson on quenelles. You make it look
Practice.
easy.
Right, so here we go. So we've got, I'll do the dessert in a second. We've got our beautiful soup, which potentially could be eaten cold, I guess. We've got our beautiful salmon, it's lovely. Oh, sorry, you see that? Beautiful salmon. And lovely, creamy, really lovely. We've got our beef, which looks like the time of year. It looks autumnal, well, it looks winterish to be fair, and I don't like to hide the fact that it's bleak outside. And I'm not saying this looks bleak, but it certainly doesn't look like spring, and that's how it should be. Right, so now I'm going to do the rum barber. And the rum barber it's really good. I know I probably shouldn't say that, but I'm really impressed with that. The guys at work have worked so hard on the rum barber. Ashley and Faraz and Tom and Chaz and Aaron and Jack and everybody else, Jen, and everybody's worked so incredibly well on all of these aspects of what we're doing to make it brilliant. And so the rum barber though, I think was like, oh wow, this is amazing. So, rum barber, what have we got? Really simple. The rum barber itself. So, I'm going to use my fingers now. I know I shouldn't, but just because I don't want to break it. That is absolutely sodden with booze and sugary sweet syrup in this incredible sponge. So there's not much liquid left there. So I'm just going to put one there, and it swells, of course, because it's taken like. Now, I'm just going to do one for now, and I'm going to pour a little bit of juice on top. Oh, no, I've got something. Spiced pineapple. Pineapple. So this is just a piece of pineapple, and it's just been vacuum sealed in a molasses syrup. Now that syrup tastes incredible. It's so nice, but we're just going to open the bag up, and then, oh my golly. Right, you don't need the syrup for anything. But I'd keep it. You could make a rum cocktail with it or something, I don't know. You could roast some extra pineapple in it. We've just sort of like compressed it. Compressing is quite a technical thing. I'll explain it in 2 seconds. I'm just going to take the pineapple and I'm just going to do a couple of slices. Now, you'll notice that's the first time I've had to use a knife for cutting because I want to make it easy for you, I guess. Right, the pineapple. I've got the pineapple. I don't know if you can see that. It's just beautiful, lovely, sort of yellowy inside, brown on the outside. Smells incredible. So I'm just going to pop that in the bowl there. So it's a little bit of pineapple in there. So the idea of the spices is that it sort of works really well with the rum. Obviously pineapple and spices work really, really well. And then the molasses syrup, when we put some black pepper in there, we've put some coriander seeds, some vanilla, some star anise, some clove, and something else, I can't remember, clove, a little bit of fennel seeds. So lots of little spices in there. So that's in there, a little bit more juice. Okay, and then I'm just going to take a knife and I'm just going to cut just about halfway down, and just to sort of expose the interior a little bit, like this. Okay, looks good, doesn't it? And the last thing to go on there is a chamomile cream. Now, chamomile cream is just a creme chantilly, semi-whipped cream basically, flavoured with the tea. For me, the flavour of chamomile and pineapple is really, really good. And not only that, with a rum barber, the classic sort of combination of like a soaked sponge with cream is delicious. And this trust me, is absolutely delicious. So this should be like the perfect consistency, and you should be able to do a nice generous dollop in there like that. And there we are. So, I will just do a quick recap. We've got our bread and butter to start with, rosemary brioche, which I didn't pop in the oven, but I'll pop that in the oven just for a couple of minutes, and you can just cut it in half, lay it open side up, and then put some butter on top and let it melt inside. Be really amazing. You can have that to start with. Then you've got your soup. We have our salmon. We go on to our beef, and then we finish with the rhubarber. And then, if you're still hungry, I can't believe you would be, you've got, well, we had these for breakfast the next morning. We've got the caramel sep truffle, and we've got the rose and champagne jelly to finish. That's it. Good luck. Okay. Any other questions?
No, I think that's everything. I think everyone's looking forward to getting started. Lots of people wanting to get their kids down so that they can go and have fun with it. Yeah, I think that's everything. Brilliant. Well, thank you all for joining us. Sorry,
Okay.
popping on to
Good.
hello as usual. Yeah, it's been great to see everybody today. It was obviously like super busy at the restaurant. We also did some collections from Nest in Ripley, which was really lovely. So a massive thank you. Oh, sorry, just looking a bit tired today. Thank you to Debs, who very kindly allowed for her restaurant to act as a collection point for us today, which was really very much appreciated. Also to Cheerful Flowers in Hascombe, the idea being that if you're not super local to Dorking, that we can try and find other points that you can collect your meals from. So if you've got any suggestions as to where might be helpful, or anybody that might be able to help us in making something available, that would be great to hear from you. But it's just really lovely to see all the comments, and I know I fill Steve in later when I'm catching up with him, but it really means the world to know that you're all there and supporting us, and yeah, it's always great fun for us too.
Just thought something.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to do another takeaway on the 27th of February. Haven't finalised the menu, but we're thinking quail as a starter.
Ooh.
We're thinking lemon sole with like a very light aromatic green curry sauce. It's not hot, it's just very aromatic. So yeah, we're just putting that together now, but that will be sort of middle of next week. We'll put that out there.
So I think most of you on the mailing list, we always share details of when the meals go live first with our mailing list. We just want to thank you for all your support. And we're also launching a new website to make the ordering a lot easier. We know it's been really clunky on the existing website, so we've really appreciated your patience. But hopefully that will be up and running, and it'll make things super quick and easy. And there'll also be some extras on there. So like tonight, we've had the candles, had the aprons. We've also got a few other ideas for things that we'd like to sell. So hopefully that will be a lot more straightforward. But I think that's all from us. I'm going to try and upload this to YouTube later. It'll stay on Instagram, assuming that I get all of this right. I might have to come and ask one of the children. But if you've got any questions, drop us a line, because obviously we're here to answer any questions you might have. But anyway, thank you, and have lots of fun cooking.
Happy Valentine's!
Bye!